Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, by moving this bill for consideration, my honorable friend has raised a very important question affecting public life. There could be absolutely no matter of doubt that the corruption in public life has become rampant. As a result of this, people in public life have become great suspects. In a seminar which I was attending on code of conduct for public men, somebody observed that once a man becomes a minister, occupies a seat of power, for generations his economic problems are solved. It may be an exaggerated statement, but it has been our sad experience that people who have occupied high positions in public life, who have become ministers, members of parliament, or members of legislatures, have overnight become affluent persons. This may not be true of all members of parliament. This may not be true of all members of legislatures. This may not be true of all ministers, but quite a large number of them have overnight become so affluent that it becomes really difficult for any man to understand how the man becomes so affluent. The whole thing becomes a mystery to the common man, and the character and integrity of the person concerned becomes highly suspect. I know, sir, that it would be too much to expect the same standard of public behavior as we had during the days of Ramayana. Those who were in charge of administration, those who were occupying the highest office, put themselves to the highest form of test, the highest form of ordeal. Can there be any doubt that public life is so much corrupted today that we have all become suspect? In fact, the people have also become jealous of the members of parliament. They say somehow one has got to become a member of parliament or a member of the legislature or somehow come closer to the corridors of power. Why do they say this? Because they see the sudden change in the outlook, the behavior, the kind of living of a particular individual. But sir, the solution in this problem of corruption in public life may not be like instant coffee. The solution may be very difficult. In fact, this was pointed out by the Santhanam committee itself. In its report, it made certain recommendations that a certain code of conduct should be there and there shall be a solution to end corruption in public life. What has actually troubled us is the variance between percept and practice in this country. When we discuss philosophy, we rise to Himalayan heights, and when it is a question of personal life, we go to the abysmal depth of the Arabian Sea. There is so much variance between percept and practice in this country that even if a particular individual might be trying to adhere to the percept, he also becomes suspect because the general atmosphere is one of suspicion. In that context, sir, I feel that something has got to be done to restore the confidence of the people in the members of parliament and in the members of legislatures and in the ministers. Now, my friend made a suggestion that after all, we are all answerable to the people in this country, and when representatives come through elections and people vote for them, that is a sure proof of the people's confidence in those elected representatives. I would respectfully differ from my friend on this kind of a diagnosis or analysis of the problem that electorally everything can be solved. The problem of human character, human integrity, human behavior, morality cannot be solved by an electoral process. There have been men in the world who are of great moral stature, men of great character and integrity, but they never won an election. Are we not aware of Mr. Rajgopalachari, who was a man of great character and integrity? Now, nothing can be said against him. He was a man of high moral stature, but he never won an election. He was also defeated in an election. Let us not try to beguile ourselves by saying that by our being electorally established, our character is established, our integrity is established, or our moral standard is established. After all, the kind of electoral system that we have in this country itself corrupts the entire political system, the entire politics in this country. How many of us can claim that we limit ourselves to the amount prescribed in the Representation of the People Act when we contest an election? Which member of parliament does not spend above that amount? How many of us file a true return in compliance with the provisions of the Representation of the People Act? Most of the candidates file false returns, and this has been taken as an accepted way of life. Therefore, we should not accept that once it is electorally established that somebody has been elected, he must automatically be deemed to be a man of character, a man of integrity, and so on and so forth. Such a proposition, at least I personally cannot accept. Mr. Vice Chairman, sir, I appreciate and welcome the various steps taken by the government so far to arrest the increasing trend in the prices of several commodities. At the same time, sir, I feel that I would be falling in my duty if I do not bring to the notice of the government the fact that the people at large are not satisfied with the results. No one can dispute the fact that there is general discontent among all sections of the community. Sir, in the last two budgets, our finance minister granted a number of concessions of the various industries, but I wish to point out that none of these benefits were passed on the consumers. Let us take the recent example. The tea planters of the country, particularly from the south, made a big hue and cry and got certain concessions from the government. But I do not think there is any reduction in the price of tea available in the shops. Let us also take the example of edible oil. Sir, there is no justification for the increase in the price of edible oil, particularly when we take note of the point that a huge quantity of oil has been imported in the country, and also in view of the prevailing prices of oil needs. Sir, the finance minister was good enough to invite suggestions from the members of this house. I would like to make one or two suggestions for his consideration. Sir, for a very long time, the organized sector of the employees in this country, to whichever political ideology they belong, they have been demanding that all industrial establishments in the country should be compelled to open fair price shops and sell essential commodities to their workmen at subsidized price. It is these salaried employees sometimes who are prepared to pay any price demanded by trader, and as a result the prices are shooting up. If at least this section of the community was supplied with essential goods at reasonable prices, it will work as a means of arresting further increase in prices. In some cases, the producer feel it will be profitable for them to suppress the production and sell those essential articles in black market and get enough profit. The producers should not be allowed to raise the price unnecessarily where in an area there are short suppliers. There is also another point I would like to bring to the notice of the Honorable Minister. Sir, the Excise Inspectorate is not as effective as it should be. I am coming, sir, from an area where nearby there are a large number of oil mills which produce oil, particularly groundnut oil. Almost all these oil mills are allowed to suppress their production by 30 to 40%. And all the suppressed production is sold in black market. If they are brought to the regular production list and regular market and regular sales, the pressure on oil prices may not be that much as we are having today. Sir, I would urge upon the government to continue to be vigilant and take further necessary steps to hold the price line. Before concluding, sir, I would like to appeal to all my colleagues, particularly those in the opposition, not to support any action which disrupts production leading to shortage and consequently further increase in price. Far from helping the government in bringing down the prices before the by-elections in the states of Lok Sabha, they were praying for increase in prices in the hope that this increase in price will have an effect on the election results. The last by-elections were fought more on the basis of the prices than ruling. But in spite of the increase in prices, our party candidates were returned to power. This does not mean that the people are satisfied with the price that were prevailing. But in spite of their difficulties and in spite of the higher prices, the people of this country believed our leader and our party. They also believed in our capacity to hold the price line. They also believed that this can be done and controlled only by the government led by the Prime Minister and by no other person. At the same time, I would like to give a word of caution of my own leaders. This comparison with the other countries does not satisfy anybody. We cannot be compared with the developed countries where the inflation is higher. There is no other country in the world which is having half of its population under the poverty line. Therefore, what is needed now is not statistical comparison but action and nothing but action. Therefore, sir, the simple question of managing this economy is very important. The same thing has happened in the case of sugar. Even when the government had ample sugar stocks, they did not care to release the stocks to bring down the price when the sugar was selling at rupees 14 to rupees 16 per kg.